No, sir.
Do you support amnesty for illegal aliens?
No, sir.
In this New York Times article, you wrote, quote, that means that the best solution for public safety is not mass deportations.
No, I
it's giving undocumented
immigration
I'm
support
speaking
for
right now.
migrants that need
This is my
protection
time,
under our
not
law.
yours. I'm speaking. It's giving undocumented immigrants who have been in the United States for a long time the opportunity to come forward, pay a fine, and gain legal status. That
Yes, sir.
sounds a lot like amnesty to me, doesn't it, to
It's
you?
a process, sir, under the law that could exercise and allow them for
That's
migrants to come out of the
amnesty.
shadows and then focus.
That's what amnesty is. This is a deliberate semantic obfuscation, and you know it, and I know it, and the American people know it as
it's not,
well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this hearing today on what I believe to be one of the most, probably the most important issue that our country faces right now, which is illegal immigration. Mr. Hauser, I've got a few questions for you. You were Chief of Staff for ICE, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What years were you there?
2021 to 2023.
So that was during the Biden administration, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. So presumably you're well-versed in border security and immigration enforcement, is that right?
Yes, sir. I would say that I'm very aware. I also worked at CBP under the Obama administration. Yes, sir.
Got it. So you've got a lot of experience there. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. In an interview with the Daily Blast on February 28th, 2024, you mentioned, quote, you can't deter and punish your way to lowering encounters at the border, end quote. Do you think you were right or wrong about that?
100%, sir. What we've seen.
100% what? Right or wrong?
100% I was correct.
You were correct about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The idea that you just dismantle an immigration system is not, there was a mandate to the Trump administration.
Illegal alien border encounters are down 95% right now. I think you were wrong about that. You also said, quote, the idea that you can turn off the border is just not factual. Do you think that was right or wrong?
Sir, the threats that we're still seeing across the border.
Do you think you were right or wrong about that
earlier.
statement?
What's that, sir?
My question is, were you right or wrong about that statement?
When you
That
turn
can
off
just
the
turn off
immigration
border?
system, sir, yes, you will not see encounters. Yes.
Well, southwestern border encounters are at a 15-year low under President Trump. Another thing that you mentioned, quote, just shutting off the border to asylum seekers is not going to do that, meaning close the border. What I think is going to do that is make it more erratic and sporadic for the sort of large surges of migrants you would see coming across the border. Do you think that was right or wrong?
100% correct. It was correct, sir. We're going to see that over the next couple years. Yes.
Border apprehensions are down now because President Trump has secured our border. He's stopped the flow of illegal aliens coming across our border and coming to our border. Do you think that we have a better or worse border situation now than we did under Joe Biden?
Sir, I believe the border is secure.
You believe the border is secure, that's right. But you were wrong about a lot of other things, about what would secure the border, is that right?
No, sir, it's only been 100 days.
You were wrong about what it would take to stop the flow of illegal aliens coming into the United States. You were wrong that secure enforcement that we're seeing under President Trump would stop the flow of illegal aliens. You ought to keep that in mind as you're going to the media and mouthing off about the president.
Can I answer that question?
Let me ask you another question. This is from a New York Times op-ed that you wrote just a month ago.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned, quote, federal law enforcement under President Trump is engaged in dangerous political theater. What about President Trump's law enforcement do you think is dangerous political theater? Do you think that
Sir, I think
seizing
setting
235,000 pounds of
quotas
fentanyl
by
at the
political
border is
appointees in the
dangerous
White
political
House
theater?
is a problem.
Do you think seizing fentanyl at our border is dangerous
sir.
political theater? Do you know who Gilberto Avila Jara is?
So that's exactly where ICE should have their resources focused. That's exactly where
And
this
we did,
administration
and
is
he was
beginning to turn
arrested
them away
last
from.
month and charged with over 20 sex crimes against minors.
Yes, sir.
These were the kind of people that Joe
Taking
Biden
2,000
and
CBP
under your
officers
leadership
off the border
were coming into
over the
our
next
country.
3 months doesn't make us more safe. Taking HSI agents away
Taking-
from drug interdiction, and
Taking
sex
murderers and
trafficking,
rapists
human
off our
smuggling
streets makes the American
doesn't make
people
us
more safe. It's your testimony that taking murderers and rapists off our streets does not make us more safe?
What I'm saying,
is that what
sir,
you're telling me?
what we have heard from this administration is over the next few months, there's going to be thousands of law enforcement focused on non-criminal migrants.
We'll see.
instead
You
of
were
the
you were
exact
wrong
same
about a
threats
lot
we
of
both
things. I don't
agree
put a
with.
whole lot of stock into that, candidly, and I don't think the American people do either. Do you support amnesty?
No, sir.
Do you support amnesty for illegal aliens?
No, sir.
In this New York Times article, you wrote, quote, that means that the best solution for public safety is not mass deportations.
No, I
it's
support
giving undocumented
focused immigration
I'm
support
speaking
for
right now.
migrants that need
This is my
protection
time,
under our
not
law.
yours. I'm speaking. It's giving undocumented immigrants who have been in the United States for a long time the opportunity to come forward, pay a fine, and gain legal status. That
Yes, sir.
sounds a lot like amnesty to me, doesn't it, to
It's
you?
a process, sir, under the law that could exercise and allow them for
That's
migrants to come out of the
amnesty.
shadows and then focus.
That's what amnesty is. This is a deliberate semantic obfuscation, and you know it, and I know it, and the American people know it as
it's not,
well. Do you think that illegal aliens should be given welfare once they get amnesty?
Sir, that's not my department.
You've got a lot of opinions on a whole lot of different things. You don't have an opinion
Areas
on that?
where I've worked for 20 years, sir. Yes, sir.
And finally, let me ask you, do you think that Biden was successful at stopping illegal immigration?
There was failures at the beginning of the Biden administration to deal with the flow of migrants post-COVID, and then there was failures of implementation of policies across all of the immigration system. That's the same problems we're seeing now. The idea that you can enforce your way out of immigration and the challenges that we see across the Western Hemisphere, it's not going to work.
We had an open border under Biden. The border's secure now. I think that's a successful Trump policy and a failure of the Biden administration. I yield my time back. Thank you.
Gentleman yielding from Alabama, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly appreciate all the witnesses being here today. During Trump's first 100 days, ICE arrested 67,000 illegal aliens and removed almost 66,000 from this country. Of those, almost 50,000 were criminal illegal aliens, either with a criminal record or facing criminal charges. Mr. Arthur, what categories of aliens are generally held in ICE detention?
Generally, it's criminals, individuals who are subject to mandatory detention because of crimes under Sections 236C and 241A2, in addition to individuals who are apprehended entering the United States subject to mandatory detention under Section 235B.
Okay, and Mr. Murkowski, this may be something, I don't know, you maybe can help me understand, but my understanding was when folks came across the border here, the background check we didn't really go back to their home country. So how do we eventually identify those? In other words, we're looking for crimes they committed in the United States, but we don't know if from Guatemala, wherever they came from. How is it that we eventually figure that out, and why is it that we don't know when they're coming? Mr. Bukowski or Mr. Arthur, either one, Moreno, whoever may have the answer to that.
Well, the problem has been the lack of thorough vetting for any of these illegal migrants that have been allowed to come into the United States. So never mind the countries of origin that oftentimes can't be verified. We don't even know who these individuals are. And we know that trickles down all the way to the unaccompanied minors. With the lack of DNA testing that was done away with early in the Biden administration, we now have, well over 350,000 that are missing within the interior of the country. So this becomes a guessing game now for authorities who are trying to rectify this system under the Trump administration. It's challenging. And then when you finally do discover the countries of origin, sometimes they don't want to accept these illegal migrants back.
One thing I found fairly interesting is when I went to the border, we saw thousands of IDs thrown down south of the border. So in other words, folks coming in, they had an ID in hand and they tossed it on the ground before they come across. And talking about the 350,000 children that the Biden administration lost, we don't know where they're at, what they're being trafficked into. But I had an individual who came across, he was 31 years old. He identified as an unaccompanied minor and raped a 14-year-old girl in a restaurant, in a restroom. And he already had a criminal record, but it's amazing to me that we didn't know his record when he came here. But then when you go see the border and you see all these thousands of IDs laying across that southern border, they don't want you to know who they are when they're coming here. And so, Mr. Arthur, why are these ICE detention centers, why are they so very important?
ICE detention is absolutely crucial for the enforcement of the law. ICE detention serves the two purposes: one, ensuring that individuals will show up for their immigration proceedings and their removal, but more importantly, to ensure that individuals who pose a danger to the community aren't allowed to be in the community while we go through that process. In fact, any individual who is eligible for bond can ask for bond if they don't have a crime. They can ask for bond from an immigration judge. I heard thousands of these cases. If they didn't pose a danger to the community and they weren't a flight risk, they were eligible for bond. Otherwise, they'd be detained because they're not going to show up.
Mr. Bukowski, you said you retired in 2018 from ICE. What was it like then compared to what you've heard from your colleagues in the last few years? How does the morale, what's going on, and what are they seeing on the streets?
Thank you for the question, sir. My experience was ICE officers are out there every day doing a job that Congress mandated. It's codified. I mean, there's funding for it. There's directives that come directly from Congress. And the men and women are out there every single day. And
So when you say codified, it's the law.
yes, sir.
And so it always amazes me that how when we're enforcing certain laws, everybody comes up in arms. But to me, it's just a matter of we are trying to enforce the laws on the books. You guys, the officers on the street, are trying to do what Congress has mandated. So what are you seeing with the morale now? Was it better? I assume it would have been better in 2018.
Yes, sir. They felt under the last administration they were totally abandoned, left out to dry. It was a field day. They weren't doing their jobs. They were sitting there. Nobody really cared. Meaning the people there felt like ICE was literally abolished without an actual order from Congress abolishing ICE.
So I'm running out of time, but so the same party that wanted to defund the police have basically attacked ICE for doing their job.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you. I yield back.